seek Him. That's a great way to live our lives, isn't it? I mean, it's the only way that we're going to be able to live our lives successfully in the days ahead. So it's a good thing. Diligently seek Him. How many of you think you're diligently seeking Him? Well, last week we got washed and left and cleansed and left so good that, feeling so good that we were ready to conquer the world. Well, this week you've got the cup of hot water. That's the prophet. And one thing about a prophet is God always tells a prophet what's happening or what's going on or what needs to be revealed, or it's a check and balance. It's always a self-examination. So do I have good news today? Absolutely, because the gospel is always good news. So, it's got to be good news, right? Well, you know what time it is. It's time for
happy anniversary, baby. Got you on my mind. Happy anniversary, baby. Got you on my mind.
I just wish we could just continue with the instrumental and just call it good. I mean, I would just like to just dance with that instrumental and say it's over. But we've got some things to talk about this morning, and one is anniversary. Now, I know you all know that Bishop and I had just celebrated our 19th anniversary, so you might go, well, that's a real word from God. Anniversary's on your mind. Not really. Not really. However, what was very, very encouraging to me is that when I heard the Lord say, what? He said, happy anniversary. I got you on my mind. I was so encouraged because God is thinking about me. Have you ever felt far away from God? Well, and when you hear the words, I've got you on my mind, right from the mouth of God, from the Spirit of God, it does something to you. Right? And it causes us to go, wow, why did I think I wasn't on His mind? Maybe because He wasn't on my mind. Why am I so encouraged with such a simple phrase that, God's thinking, or I'm on God's mind. God's got His mind on us. How often do we tell other people, I've been thinking about you? Something that was, happened today made me think of you, and I smiled. How often do we have our mind on other things or on things, or how often do we have our mind on God? So the definition of an anniversary, which you're probably well aware of, is a date on which an event took place in a previous year. Now, some people talk in terms of, well, it was the 50th anniversary of World War II. I think we're coming up on this anniversary of 9/11. If I'm not mistaken, it's 16 years. So we'll be celebrating, can I say, or recognizing the 16th year of 9/11. A notable event that happens. Another definition, the annual reoccurrence of a date marking a notable event. Now, wedding anniversaries in our house are a big deal. I mean a big deal. I remember the first anniversary, we went over to Canada, Stratford, and saw a couple plays and had a nice dinner just for the night, stayed at a bed and breakfast. And then it seemed like the next 10 years we were down in Texas or Pennsylvania or somewhere preaching. Whether it was, most of the time it was like a conference. Many, many years, probably 8 in a row, we were at House of the Lord in Austin, Texas, and it always fell on our anniversary. But it wasn't a big deal to me because an anniversary is really celebrating that thing or that date which you became one with your mate. Right? And so God said,
Happy anniversary, baby. Got you on my mind.
So I began to think about, it's lovely that we make such a big deal about our own anniversary, you know, being married to this wonderful spouse. And then I thought, what is the anniversary of the time we became one with God? How do we celebrate the anniversary of the time that we knew that we were saved from a devil's hell, that we were cleansed and given new life, new opportunity? I joke with my students all the time, and you know, kids today, they want to call you by your last name. Hey, Anderson. And I am like all over that. It's Mrs. Anderson. Right. Look, I worked hard to get that title, and I'm working even harder to keep it. And a lot of people in the world, they're not working that hard. They're not working that hard to keep that anniversary, to keep that covenant. They're not working that hard in their own natural relationship with their spouse, let alone a relationship with God. I wonder if they know that where they've been and where, and you know, like what has taken the place of the anniversary of the celebration of when they first became married to God, became one with God. Amos 3:3 says, "Can we walk together except they be agreed?" Or can two walk together except they be agreed? I don't know. I see a lot of people living together and living separate lives. I see people that I work with, like taking vacations separately, like spring break. Like, who does that? But I know people that do. So I have to come back and go, unless you walk together, can you be agreed? What about God? Unless we walk with God, can we really say that we're in agreement with Him, that we be agreed? How about these married people that have separate checkbooks? Now, there might be a reason for that. Trust me. If someone doesn't know, you know, can't deal with money and you know, does things they ought not do, okay, there's that situation. But generally speaking, how does that work? How is it that you keep, you know, your lives so separate? A marriage is a covenant between two individuals. And you do all that you can do to protect it. You give all that you are to make it the best it can be. But I have these friends, and you know, they don't have any children, and they never do anything alone. They're always inviting other people to go with them, whether it's vacation, you know, you name it. They're never alone. Now, one thing about Bishop and I, we're always alone. I mean, that's just the way we are. We're just always alone. Do you know, I work for a person that in 12 years of working in this institution, I have never once seen their spouse. Wow. How's that happen? That's called a separate life. And when I got married, I knew that my life was no longer my own. And you know, when we get saved, we say the prayer and we go, oh yeah, we know our life is no longer our own, but how long does that last? How long does the anniversary stay intimate? How long does the anniversary stay exciting? And you know, and our mind is on you, baby. How long does that happen? The traditional vows, in sickness and in health. Really? I know of someone who decided to go a different route, like away from the spouse, because they were tired of taking care of them. Because it was in sickness. It wasn't in, they wanted just health, not in sickness. Till death do us part? Wow, I mean, do people even think about what they say when they make these vows? Like, I'm going to be with you until you die, or I die. How about with God? When we come into that covenant with God, how often is it that we are willing to go entirely, no matter what, no matter how good it is, no matter, God, you're doing stuff, I don't like it, but I'm not going to give up on you. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to do what I know to do. I am your bride. And when I became Bishop's bride, I had to lay down what my total, I don't know if it would be selfish, but my total desires were. And do you know that over time I'd forget that, and I'd start picking it up, and I'd apply for a principal's job here, and you know, I would forget. Wait a minute. And I finally got that lesson learned. It wasn't until 2011 that I walked away, and I finally got it. It's like, you can't be married to the school and married to the church. You can't be married to the school and be a good wife and a good helpmate and help your helpmate, in my case Bishop, with the call of God on his life. So I'm just a teacher. Do you think I have some bad days? Because I think I could be, you know, I could have this job. I'm good at this. I could do this, but no. I'm married to a man of God, and I have to help him with his call. Yeah. I could not get him over into what my mission was in life. I had to come over into what his was. How many times do we get, God, we're together, we're one, as long as you're doing what I want you to do. I've got some things I want you to do. And I'm just all about this Christian walk as long as it's all going the way I want it to go. Reminiscing. Do you ever reminisce about where you've been, and as a married couple, where you've come from? I reminisce all the time. It's always who I've been. You know, just like, remember, you know, and good old Facebook helps you. 5 years ago today, we were in Myrtle Beach celebrating an anniversary, golfing, you know, our brains out. Okay? I like to reminisce. Do you know 5 years ago today, you know, and then you were in Washington, D.C. this year for our anniversary, and I said to Bishop, I go, what did we do last year for our anniversary? I couldn't think of it. Well, it was that good, huh? I couldn't think of what we did, and, you know, I mean, wow, was it that special? And then I saw Minister Ryan post a post about 2 years ago. We did a baptism over in Pennsylvania, and it occurred to me, oh yeah, that's right. We were in Pennsylvania, and on the way back, spontaneously stopped at Niagara Falls to celebrate our anniversary. Okay, that was 2 years ago. Oh yeah, remember last year we spent a week in Niagara Falls and rented this little cottage and rode our bikes to Niagara Falls and back from Niagara on the Lake and da-da-da-da-da. And so you reminisce. And then you reminisce and you think about, remember the 6 years we didn't do anything because we were dirt poor? Remember the time that, you know, we were entered into conversation and you said something so rude and I was so offended that we didn't talk the entire night? One thing about reminiscing is you're going to find some good times and some bad times. And that's just life. But remember, without rain, we don't appreciate the sun. Without the winter, we don't really appreciate summer here. And, I mean, on goes the story. So it's okay. You're going to have good times and bad times. Now, is everything rosy-posy? This is the biggest problem in the body of Christ today. They think once they get saved that everything's going to be perfect. We're going to be a perfect individual. I'm going to live a perfect life. Everyone's going to think I'm fabulous. Wrong. It doesn't work that way. And we all know that. And we absolutely all know that. Sounds like by the sound of your response, you all know that. But let's come back to what God said.
Happy anniversary, baby. Got you on my mind.
He's got you on his mind. I hope that makes you smile. My question is he smiling? Is he on your mind? We always say it's easy to serve God, when everything's going good. Is it? I think it's easier to serve God when everything isn't going good. Because I am I can't do this on my own. I think it's way easier to have a relationship with God when, you've got some real challenges in life, some real adversity, some real questions. I remember when I first got saved and I would come to this office. First of all, I would run to this house every time the doors were open. I'd be sitting in the parking lot, and anybody who knows me, I'm never early. I would be sitting in the parking lot waiting for the doors to open because I needed what was here. I wanted God. I needed God. I would come out during the day and talk to it. That person, Sue, was in the office, and I would say, Sue, can I just go be in the sanctuary? Can I just be in here? Because as a very new born-again Christian, that was the way that I felt like I got close to God, like I could be with him, like I didn't know how to get his presence on my own, So I would come and put on the little jam box and put some music on and just be. My mind was on him. And we are such a blessed people that God wants to bless us and prosper us and give us, all these rewards, and then when we get it all, it's like we forget about him. And so today, the thing I love about God is, he's just reminding us, look, I haven't forgot you. My mind is on you. Please don't forget me. Please don't forget all the things that I have brought to your life, all the things I've brought you through, all the blessings. I know you haven't forgotten the bad things. We never forget the bad things. You remember, we lived on $13,000 a year, God, remember? We haven't forgotten the bad things. But he's just saying, can you please remember the good things along with it? Because in life, there's always good and there's always bad. It's just the way it is. So anniversary made me think about, as we reminisce, what took place back in time, on this very day. Now, we all know it's July 30th, but according to the Hebrew calendar, it's the 8th of Av. Thank you. And I was just, Googling about what happened on this day in history. Well, Princess Di and Charles were married. I'm thinking, they're not married now. Why are we still talking about that? Why is that such a big deal still? What does that have to do with today? Just interesting, right? But really it led me to the 8th of Av, and of course Bishop has been telling us that the 9th of, or Tisha B'Av, right? B'Av is the 9th on the 9th of that day, matter of fact, lots of bad catastrophes happened. So, great, that's tomorrow. Hello. But let's come back to today. What happened today? Well, on this day, on this anniversary, back in time, way BC 1313, the spies came back with a report. And if you've got your Bibles, which you do, turn to Numbers 13:25 with me. So the spies, now when we were in Washington, D.C. here last week, or a couple weeks ago, we went to the International Spy Museum. It was the coolest thing. 007, all his cars and all his little gadgets that he has to be the spy that he is. And beyond way back when, like all the things that spies did. But when you first walked into the museum, they gave you a cover. And you got to choose your cover. There were 16 you could choose from, but it was a cover. Like I was 26 years old. I was a female. My name was, I couldn't pronounce it, but I was born in Kenya, and I was in London on family business. I mean, they give you the whole scenario, right? And then time goes on, you go through the museum, and then they quiz you about your cover, right? Because if you're a spy, you got to have a cover. And how well do you know your cover, right? Well, in the world, in the church today, do you have a cover? Do you have a cover? Do you need a cover? I don't know if you do or not, but the point is there were spies that were sent into a land and came back with a report. Now, you are only as good, your report is only as good as what you can see. Do you know a spy has to be able to walk into an environment, scan it, and see everything that's there in a matter of seconds? Like, you're on a walk or, in the park, and you scan the environment and you see a girl over there taking a picture. Well, they're not taking a picture, it's a cover. You see a man sitting on the park bench reading a newspaper. Well, he's not reading the newspaper, friends. It's a cover. And on goes the story. We have to be able to look into a land as a spy and be able to see effectively what is really going on. Because what it appears to be going on is not really what's going on. A spy. The spies came back with a report. So in Numbers 13:25. They returned after spying out the land 40 days. Now, some of you just moved to this city, but don't tell me that you didn't come in here and that you didn't spy out this land before you moved here. Right? So these spies spied for 40 days. Verse 26, they departed and came back to Moses and Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Israel in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh, and they brought back word to them and to all the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. Whoa, fruit of the land. There's fruit in this land. Those of you who came into this land, you came here and said, wow, I like the fruit here. I like the fruit here. Whew, that is good stuff. I want to partake of this land. And then they told them and said, we went to the land where you sent us. It truly does flow with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. Great. I went to the land where you sent me, in the city of Sandusky, and look at my house. I got a new house. Look at my new car. I got a new car. Did you see that God is expanding my family? We're going to have another addition to the family. Did you see the new job that God provided for me? This is fruit in this land. We went to the land where you sent us. I answered the call. I came into this house. I answered the call, and they made room for my gift. And finally now, like never before, I have real purpose in my life. We went to the land called Bam, and that's where you sent us, and we learned how to let the Word become life in our life. I have substance in my life. I have real substance in my life. We went to this land in this place called the church in the middle of Sandusky, and I got cleaned, I got cleansed, I got delivered, and I got healed and made free. Now that's a good report. Is that what you're saying? Numbers 13:28. Nevertheless, the people who dwell in the land are strong, and the cities are fortified and very large. And moreover, we saw the descendants of the Nephilim, giants. Okay, you sent us to this land. We got a new house, but did you know the house isn't big enough? I love my new car, but I really, I really don't know if I like the idea that I have to take every side job that comes my way to pay for it. Oh, my new job? Oh, did I tell you what my new title was? Slave. 72 hours a week? Are you kidding? Who does that? And then there's this new baby that's going to be added to our family. Oh, great. Yeah, that's lovely. Now my wife will never want to work again. We went to this land. This was the land that you sent us. And we answered the call. The problem is the phone keeps ringing. They made room for my gift, but now I'm on the Ministry of Helps. I'm in the Ministry of Helps every single service. And if that's not enough, in between doing, using my gift in believer actuated music, I got to run the switcher. I got to run sound. I just want to come and sit and listen and feed. Good report, bad report. We went to this place that you sent us called BAM, and we learned to let the Word become life in our life and that we have substance, but, I don't want to do the Word. There are days I just don't want to do it. I want to just go back and do what I've always done. I want to be able to do exactly what I want to do when I want to do it. We went to that land, that land that you told us to go to, that church in Sandusky, and got delivered, but now I'm hearing that's too much is given, much is required. Oh, you mean there's something I got to do because I was privy to all this? Oh, yeah, now you want me to go to church every time the doors are open, love the brethren, tithe, witness. Yeah, verse 30. Then Caleb quieted the people. So are you getting it? These people came back and they were complaining. And Caleb was quieting them. He says, let us go up at once and take possession, for we are well able to overcome it. Don't you just love these poly-positive people? Miss Polly Positive, would you please just close your lips? I would like to complain for a little while. Oh, but there's one in every group. Those zealots are most of the time the ones that always got to bring the bright side back. Got to bring some daylight into some darkness. Got to bring some bright, clear, cheery, atmosphere in. Remember the good stuff. But the men that went with Caleb, who had gone up with him, said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we are. And they gave the children of Israel a bad report on the land which they'd spied out, saying, the land through which we have gone as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants. And all the people whom we saw in it are men of great stature. What? What? You want me to get in agreement with this bad report? See, misery loves company. Isn't that what we say? And so these spies that came back and said, no, we can't do it. What are you talking about? We don't have enough strength. We don't have enough manpower. We don't have enough resources. And they go on and they talk about how, you know, we're going to be consumed. They devour everyone who goes in there that's outside of who they are. They devour the inhabitants. The giants is what they're talking about. And they saw themselves as grasshoppers. Now, I know you know that portion of Scripture, but 33. And there we saw giants, the son of Anak, which came of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. We were in our own sight as grasshoppers. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. When you get yourself focused on yourself, then that's all you can see is yourself. Oh, I'm small. You know, there's a reason why God said it's unwise to compare. I'm comparing what I look like to what they look like. Whew. It may not tell the real story. Looking at self will always be a bad report, quite honestly. Always a bad report. Then I know it goes on and says, and so we were in their sight. In other words, they thought we looked like grasshoppers too. Oh, really? Yeah, but they don't know your God. Oh, but, you know, I think God said,
Happy anniversary, baby. Got you on my mind.
oh, they don't know the one that you're in covenant with. They don't know the power behind the one that you serve. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't matter how they see you. It's not accurate. When you're in darkness, you can't see. Can you see in the dark? No. They're in darkness. Can they see? No. We're bigger than what we look like. So Numbers 14, and the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. Do you know when you get a bad report, you're going to make people cry? Wow. When you've been given a bad report, you cry. And if that's not bad enough, there's a bad report going on, and you know what? How did the children of Israel respond? They just continued to complain and murmur against Moses and Aaron. You know, and they continue to go, oh, it's not good enough, God. What, you've given us this land of milk and honey, and this isn't, it's just not good enough. It's not good enough. You forgot to tell us it was going to take some work to overcome those giants. I'd just as soon die and go back to Egypt. It was better the way it was. I liked being single. I liked being worldly. I liked being the way I was before you tried to change me. It's better off. We would have been better off if you just would have let us die in the wilderness. Either that or go back to Egypt. Either way, anything would be better than this. So, of course, you know, they thought they were going to get a captain, make a captain, and return to Egypt. Return, right? Someone that would lead them to where they wanted to go. You see, if you don't like where a leader's leading you, you'll go find another leader. If you don't like what someone is giving you, you'll get a second opinion. This is no different than in this situation. So Numbers 14:6 says, but Joshua and Caleb, wouldn't you know? Joshua and Caleb, there's always two. And they were among those who had spied out the land. Okay, verse 7. And they spoke to the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, the land we passed through to spy out is exceedingly good land. Let me see, bad report, good report. Here's a good report. This land that we were told to go spy out, it's exceedingly good land. And if the Lord delights in us, if the Lord delights in us, this is Joshua and Caleb, then he will bring us into the land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. This is the promise. God promised them a land that flowed with milk and honey. It's right here. He's setting them up. He had set them up. He set them in there to see it. Some people could see it, some people couldn't. But I love the people that can see, because verse 9, Caleb and Joshua, here's what they're saying, because they could see. But do not rebel against the Lord. Don't rebel against the Lord. The Lord said,
Happy anniversary, baby. Got you on my mind.
The Lord said, this is an internet church. The Lord said, this is the seat of a bishop. The Lord said, we are well able to take this city. The Lord said, what's the Lord said? The Lord said, I'm going to shut the light off so darkness comes because people can't see the gospel in the light. The Lord said, I'm setting you up to make sure that you're full of oil so in the day of darkness you have enough to carry you through. The Lord said, come on, what did the Lord say? We have to go back and remind people when they start, saying the wrong thing, when they start, talking about a bad report. It's like Pastor Aaron said, go grab those tongs, get that coal, burn those lips. Burn those lips. We cannot give a bad report. God said, and that settles it. So, Joshua and Caleb, do not rebel against the Lord. And don't fear the people of the land. We don't have to fear the people of the land. This is the promise right here. I'm telling you, this is the good news. This is really what God is saying, that you don't rebel against what I'm asking you to do, and do not fear the people, for they are your bread. They are your grain. They are we're in the wheat harvest, right? So they are your harvest. Don't be afraid of them. Their protection has departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Their defense has departed from them. Any excuse that they had about not coming here and not seeing the Lord for who He is, it's departing. Do you know that protection is shade? In the summer, when you have fair skin, you're looking for shade. It's called protection. Shade also shades things, like covers things, right? And so it is, that shade, if you will, that protection is being lifted. So you're going to be able to see things for what they are. Protection, defense. It's departed from them, but the Lord is with us. Who's on the Lord's side?
Come on. Yeah. I am. Yeah, I am. Don't love it. I am.
Yeah. I mean, if the Lord said it, who are we to argue? In stores, in parks, whatever. I hear children arguing with their parents constantly. And it's like, who are you to argue with them? Just do what they say. The instruction, do not rebel against me. Do not fear the people. Here's what's going to happen. Because their defense and their protection is departed from them, now they can't hide behind this grace gospel anymore. They can't hide behind saying, I'm okay, I'm forgiven, I'm okay. What's wrong with you? You're weird. You're like out there. No. That defense, that protection that is being exposed, it's being exposed. It is departing from them. And you are now going to see their artificial light. And when the batteries go out, they go out. Batteries only last so long. Unless you're the Energizer bunny, and for some reason they keep on going. But I have candles that run on battery. And they go out. I have to replace those batteries. So don't fear them. You don't have to fear them. They are being exposed. Their cover is being lifted. They have no cover anymore. And that is what the Lord is telling us in verse 9, that He is with us. But don't forget about our anniversary. And that I want you to know that I'm on your mind, but I want to be on your mind. So what happened after that? Well, verse 10, the congregation loved what they said. They stoned them. They threw stones, right? And the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle before the children of Israel. And the Lord said unto Moses, how long will these people provoke me? Man, God was mad. The thought of me making God mad scares me. I mean, where is the reference to God? Oh, why was he so mad? Do you love it? How do you respond when you're trying to tell someone something that's the truth and they don't believe you? They either call you a liar or they just simply won't believe you. Well, that's where God's at. What are you talking about? I just performed all these miracles in the land of Egypt, brought you out, one miracle after another. I told you that this is the land that's waiting for you to take. I've given it to you. It flows with milk and honey, and you're whining about there's giants there and that you can't do it. You don't believe my power? Well, here's what I'm going to do. You don't believe me? I'll smite you with the pestilence and disinherit you. And I will make of you or thee a greater nation and mightier than they. Wow, it brings new light to vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. He got mad. And he was going to do something about it. But God can be angry and sin not. He was just so taken back with the blatantly distrust of his power that he said, you'll never go in that promised land. Never, 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 never. It's over, boys. You're not going in. But that was because of a bad report. Now we have to make sure we have a good report. And I'm here to tell you that God's mind is on you. God says, I got you on my mind. I want you to know what's coming. I care about you enough to tell you that you can't see in the dark. I care enough about you to prepare you for what's coming. I care enough about you to tell you that it is getting dark and that I'm the one that's causing it to become dark. Because I care so much about you. Is that darkness good or bad? Is it God or the devil? Is the darkness good or bad? Yeah, it's good and it's bad. We are harvest-minded people here. And God does not want us to end this harvest season empty-handed. So he's causing it to get darker. Darkness left here last Wednesday night. And it will become darker and darker and darker. And we will see a harvest. And because God's mind is on us, he knows. It's like, God, what are you doing? Where's all the people? Where are the lost sheep that you want to hear the word that they can be changed? What is the true gospel? Turning people from the darkness to the light. Where are they? We've been talking for years. God's mind is on us. He knows people can't see the gospel in the light. And he wants, and he's going to, as Pastor Aaron said, turn the light off. But here's what he wants us to be in a position to do. Celebrate all through the night. Now, when it's your anniversary, you've got some big plans.
Okay.
I don't care if you're male or female. They're the same plan, if you know what I'm talking about. It's inevitable. It's expected. It's... There's no surprises. Yep, PG rated. But, yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, I better move along on that one. Okay, blushing. So he wants us to celebrate through the night. He didn't say celebrate for an hour or 2 hours. All through the night means all through the night until the morning comes. All through the night means until the light comes again. So, 3 days, 3 years. Wednesday night we talked about, Moses and Aaron stretched forth their hand and darkness came on the land and gross darkness to people for 3 days. I said to Bishop, 3 days? I can do anything for 3 days. I can even fast for 3 days and it's not, like I'm not going to die. I can do anything for 3 days. But 3 years? That's going to get tough. So, God wants to prepare us so that we can celebrate 3 years. It's going to require us to be able to focus. Now, Bishop shared about eyesight and how the older you get, the muscles in your eyes get tired and they can't come into focus as well or as fast. Well, this is what our ability is to celebrate through the night. We have to have the ability to come into focus, bring into focus, have a single eye. What's that? Yeah, okay. Now, listen, the longer you've been married, the easier it is, or the easier it might be for your marriage to get out of focus. Oh, I forgot, I forgot I'm supposed to try and look good for you every day. Oh, I forgot I'm supposed to be as sweet as can be every day. Oh, you forgot you were supposed to be sexy to me. It's not sexy when you roll out of bed. Yeah, we have new meaning to where'd you go? So in Washington, D.C., we had a king-size bed, and we came home, and the second night being home, I heard this thud. And I looked over, and I go, where'd you go? And Bishop goes, well, I rolled out of bed. And I hit my head on something, and I was just hysterical inside, but I didn't really say much on the outside, but I'm thinking, well, that's really sexy. Yeah. When you've been married a while, it might be easier for you to get out of focus. When you've been one with God for a while, it might be pretty easy to take Him for granted. It might get a little cloudy. But we know how to bring it in to focus, don't we? Single eye, serve Him. You see, sight requires light. And can you see in the dark? I already said that. No. So here's what sometimes we have to do. Personally, sometimes I can see better with my eyes closed. So a good report, a bad report. Close your eyes. Because what is happening in the natural, what you see around you may not be the real story. Light is on the inside. You have to close your eyes sometimes to be able to see what God sees. Now, Bishop will say, pray with your eyes open, but sometimes I have to pray with my eyes closed. Not when I'm driving, of course. But light on the inside. So, He sends 12 people in, Moses and Aaron sent 12 people in to spy out the land. 2 came back. 2 could see in the spiritual. 10 could only see in the natural. What will help you celebrate through the night? That you can see in the spiritual and not just in the natural. 2 saw possibilities and 10 saw impossibilities. They forgot that all things are possible with God. They forgot about God's power and all the miracles and things that He did in their midst in Egypt. 2 saw opportunities and 12 saw that the risk was too great. It reminds me of the story Bishop shares all the time. It's one of my favorite stories, where the shoe salesman calls up his manager. He's in another country. Can you picture this in a cell booth or in a telephone booth? Is how I always see it. And he says, don't send any shoes. No, nobody wears shoes down here. Don't send any. And then the next salesperson goes, nobody has shoes. Send truckloads. How do you see it? The risk was too great for 10 of them. 2 saw what God had promised, a land of milk and honey. And 10 saw giants. Yeah. Now, did the 2 see giants too? Probably, but they knew their God was bigger than that. Yeah. 2 saw victory, 10 saw defeat. 2 saw the light, and 10 saw darkness. If you're going to celebrate all through the night, you've got to have the light. You've got to be able to see. You've got to sometimes close your eyes and get out of the natural and get in the spirit. Be single-eyed. Be focused on serving Him. If we turn from the dark and if we turn to the light, then we will be able to see like He sees. It's a good report when you can see like He sees. It's a bad report when you see yourself. Work while it's still day. Are you working? Are you? Are you working? What are you working at? What are you working at? You working at doing what you want to do? Are you working at, going on vacation? I have been. Because after all, I vacated the mountains and I thought that was my reward. I'm not saying it wasn't, but am I on vacation and my mind is on Him or not? Are you celebrating in the day when it's easy? Are you celebrating in the day when everything's illuminated and bright? Well, that's true too. What are you celebrating? Because, like I said, God, His mind is on us. He cares about us, and He wants us to be prepared. And if we play this thing right, if we do what He says, if we do not rebel against Him, then we will come into a celebration all through the night. Not just the first half of the night, not just the first year, but all 3 years. I'm telling you, 3 years is a long time. I cannot be without my husband for 3 years. I cannot be without God for 3 years. So what are we supposed to be doing? We're supposed to be getting oil. We've been talking about that like off and on over the course of time and years, but oil, not religion. Religion does not satisfy. Religion will not sustain you. Religion is empty. But oil. Oil keeps the light on. Oil keeps the flame burning. Oil is what other people are going to want, and it's what's going to set you apart from you and them. Oil is what will give you a good report in a time when it might look a little dusk. The oil is what will just be your portion and what's necessary for you to be a witness. You can't celebrate all night without oil. And so if I could leave you with a couple of things. Number one, what are you thinking about? Where's your mind been? I have to say that I'm thankful for, having some time to exercise. But that run keeper has become a god to me, almost that strong. But it's like I can't do anything unless I got to have my battery charged on my phone because that run keeper's got to be on tallying it. Now, part of it's fun, right? Part of it is fun, but the other part is like, seriously, And I went to start it. We went for a bike ride on, I guess it was Friday, and I went to start it before I got on my bike, and he said, I'm going to come up with a prayer app. Just prayed an hour. Or a Bible app. Just read my Bible for 2 hours. Oil. Instructions. It's like Caleb said, don't fear the people and don't rebel against God because their protection has departed them. You watch for it. You watch. Their protection has departed, and now you get to see who they really are. Are they a sheep or a goat? Are they light or darkness? Are they strictly a sheep looking for the light and they've been lost? Or are they just simply, they love darkness? It will be very obvious. Instruction. Keep your eye single. A single eye, focused on God, focused on what He said, focused on what He's doing. Come on, focused. Don't succumb to what the world has turned into a complaining society. And I get sucked up into it sometimes. I catch myself at school. Like all the teachers are complainers, and all of a sudden I'm on the bandwagon with them. Until I walk to my room, like, man, seriously, shut your mouth. Where's that coal? You know? But it's easy to get on the bandwagon. Society, they're complainers. If you gave them the world, just like the Israelites, if you give them a land, oh, but it's not good enough. Because you mean I actually have to do something? Yeah, we don't want to. A lot of people don't want to do anything. Just give it to me, God. Give it to me. I don't want to have to work for it. So, again, going back, don't rebel against God. Know that the protection on them has departed. You don't have to fear Him. Have a single eye. Stay focused on Him. Close your eyes to see. That's the only way you'll see accurately and spiritually. Always turn to the light. And do all you can do right now and from this day forward to get all the oil that you can get. I hope you got something out of this. I hope that you heard God's heart, because He said,
Happy anniversary, baby. Got you on my mind. Happy anniversary, baby. Got you on my mind.
I got you on my mind, God says. You know, couples actually over a period of time, they realize they need a new spark in their relationship. And so they renew their vows. I mean, sometimes we go on a vacation and we, spend time alone, and that helps too. And P.S., leave the kids at home when you're going away. And it's about you, and it's about a couple. It's about an anniversary. God's got you on His mind. And maybe it's time we renew our vows to Him and go, you know what? I'm going to be totally focused on you. I'm going to put my little Runkeeper app away and get out my Bible app. I'm going to get out my prayer app. I'm going to get out. I'm just going to get in your presence. Everywhere I go, I'm going to be thinking about you and celebrating and telling the whole world a good report. So if you want to renew your vows, you can make your way to the altar and between you and God. Maybe you want to celebrate an anniversary with Him. How long has it been? When's the last time you were intimate with Him? When's the last time, you really made Him smile? When's the last time you really made Him feel like God? And that you rejoiced in His power and all the things that He's done. Maybe you need to renew your vows this morning that you may forget those bad reports that you're still hanging on to. It's up to you. But regardless of your choices today, God's heart remains the same. And that is, His mind is on you. And that is His words right from the Spirit of God are, happy anniversary. I've got you on my mind. Amen? Well, Father, thank you today for your word and for your encouragement, God, that we are important to you. That no matter if we have maybe left or walked away or backed up a few steps from who you are, God, that you haven't forgotten about us. And you want to bring back to our remembrance just how important we are to you and just what you provided for us. So today we choose. We choose once again to serve you and to love you. We choose today to recognize all the good things that you've done in our life. And we choose to catch our words and catch our lips if they're saying the wrong thing. Because, Lord, we do not want to make you angry with a bad report, especially a report of error. Thank you today. We worship you today. Believer actuated music.